In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Zookeeper Quarter Arcade, this beautiful recreation of the iconic Taito cabinet in the 1/4 scale. Is this something you should consider adding to your collection, or is this something you should possibly avoid? Howdy friends, it's Michael B. Thank you so much for checking out today's video. And in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Zookeeper from Quarter Arcades. I want to say a huge thank you to Quarter Arcades for sending me out this cabinet for the purpose of this review. Now, if you've been watching the channel for a very long time, you know I'm a big fan of Zookeeper. I absolutely love the game, and I love the beautiful, iconic cabinet. Let's find out if this 1/4 scale replica lives up to the original cabinet, and if you should consider picking one up. But before we get into that, I want to say thank you so much, everybody, for checking out the video. Guys, I always appreciate the support. This is your first time to the channel, you like what you see, go ahead, subscribe, click the bell for notifications, all that YouTube jazz. So here we have the Quarter Arcade's Zookeeper Arcade in the box. As you can see, the box looks really good. What they ship it in gives a great overview of the product, all the other features. I think you guys are going to like the box. But what's more important is actually what's in the box. So first up, we have the instruction manual with a QR code to join the Quarter Arcades Club, as well as a QR code to get your warranty. On top of that, you're also going to be getting a USB-C to USB charging cable. It does not come with a charger attachment, but we've got plenty of those around the house, and it's easy enough to plug in and charge up your machine. And then last but not least, we have the absolutely beautiful Quarter Arcade Zookeeper itself, which we're going to get into more detail in just a minute. I want to start off this review by saying I think Quarter Arcades have absolutely killed it in replicating the original classic Taito Zookeeper arcade that's an absolute stunner in the 1/4 scale form factor. Now, in my personal opinion, Zookeeper is the best looking of the Taito arcade cabinets. The Taito arcade cabinets usually have a pretty standard side panel, sometimes adjusted with art, that doesn't really focus on the game so much as the company. Here with Zookeeper, they do go outside that box. We are only getting 2 colors, which may seem pretty basic, but the artwork on the cab is still very beautiful with the outlines of the characters, and at least it's original. Then we take a look at the marquee, and it is bright and vibrant with no visible hotspots. You will notice it has that classic arcade kind of like yellow light look to replicate what the original bulb looked like in the original cabinet, so I absolutely love that. I also like the fact that the artwork on the marquee is nice and crisp. It's displayed well. There's nothing blurred out here. It's an exact copy. Now, one thing I really like is, of course, the contrast as we go from the side panel to the marquee. We have the orange on the side compared to the blue and the marquee. I love that contrast, very much like the Burger Time cab, which, believe it or not, is Quarter Arcade's next big release. Now, the bezel surrounding the screen is really colorful and a little busy, but not necessarily in a bad way. It recreates the original Zookeeper bezel, including some of the artwork that extends past the bezel area and a little bit over the screen, which I think is a very cool feature that you don't see on many arcades nowadays. One of the other really cool features is if you take a look down at the bottom of the bezel, you usually find kind of an instruction card on a lot of arcade bezels. This one here is actually a lighted feature that Quarter Arcades didn't skimp out on. A lot of other arcades would just pass this off, print the instruction card, but Quarter Arcades did feature this as a light up feature, replicating what's on the original arcade, and I love that attention to detail. The screen on the cabinet is bright and tight and looks really good. The colors are nice and vibrant, and the image is really sharp. The screen display is in the correct aspect ratio, 4:3. However, this does use a 16:9 screen where most of it is covered up by the bezel, and that actually works really well here. The control panel is gorgeous, recreating the art of the original arcade and even replicating the waterfall effect. The buttons and sticks are arcade accurate in their placement, even with the start buttons on the waterfall, as most other companies would take the easy way out and probably put them just up on the control panel. Now, if you've ever had a quarter arcade before, you already know this, but the buttons are super responsive and actually feel good despite their reduced side. The stick is the standard quarter arcade's control stick we are used to. Now, we're going to come back to the stick a little later on when we talk about gameplay, so keep that in mind. There is a coin door on the front of the cabinet. It is, however, a faux plastic coin door. I know quarter arcades have received a ton of feedback that people would prefer a metal or, some kind of tin coin door on the front, much more like what New Wave Toys does with the Replicade line. However, the plastic coin door is a pretty good compromise. You will notice the buttons on the coin slots are in fact lighted, which adds to the overall effect. There's 3 different lighted features on this arcade. They also double as your coin in buttons, so that's the buttons that you will press to actually put your quarters in this arcade. On the back, you're going to find your on-off power rocker. You're also going to find your control dial for controlling the volume on the cabinet and what's coming out of the 3-watt stereo speakers that actually do sound pretty good. And then last but not least, you're going to find a USB-C slot that you're going to plug in to charge the lithium-ion battery that powers the mini arcade. Now, this cabinet only does come with one game, and that is the arcade classic Zookeeper. This is, in fact, the original arcade ROM with no alterations, so it will play, look, and feel like you remember. One cool feature I know you guys are going to be asking about, this does record your gameplay scores, so it does keep track of it. Even when you power off the machine and go back in, if you've put up a high score, you're going to see your initials on the leaderboard. Now, if you've been following along with the news about this cabinet, this game does have a reported control issue, as the included control stick does act somewhat strangely with the game. This isn't an issue of an 8-way for a 4-way game or vice versa, kind of like what happened with New Wave Toys, Ghosts and Goblins Replicade, where that's a 4-way gate game that uses an 8-way gate game so it doesn't perform well. No, this is just a limitation of the hardware. While some people will say the game is in fact broken because of this, I kind of disagree a little bit, because I feel that it's more so you have to get used to the new controls. They don't act how you expect, but when you get used to the controls, you can still put up some very decent scores. I've been able to replicate the scores that I normally get on multicades and on the original arcade itself. However, that did take a little time getting used to the quirks of this arcade control panel. So anyways, guys, that's my look at the Quarter Arcade's Zookeeper 1/4 scale arcade cabinet. Me personally, I'm very happy with the way this turned out. I think they did an amazing job recreating the look and feel of the original arcade cabinet in this form factor. I love the game personally. I love the artwork. I love the quirkiness of this early 80s arcade cab, and I'm so glad they did it justice with the way it looks. It's going to be an amazing display piece up on my shelf with the rest of my quarter arcades. I do know that there is some quirkiness with the controls, and if you're buying this purely to play Zookeeper, it might not be the experience that you're hoping for, but I will tell you, if you are a Quarter Arcades collector, I do have a feeling later on down the line, this one's going to be a little bit harder to get and may become one of the more expensive and rare quarter arcades, so keep that in mind while it's still available. Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments, what do you think of the Quarter Arcade's Zookeeper Taito release? Do you kind of feel the same way I do? This is the best looking of the Taito arcade cabinets. Is this something you're interested in picking up, or is this one you're going to skip? Anyways, guys, thank you so very much for watching. This is Michael B. the Game Genie. I'll talk to you next time.